Hey, yo, what up? And this is Worst to Least Worst presented by HoopsFYI. And today we're going to do another installment of our mid-season review of each team, division by division, going over records and stats, and how each team ranks within their division and the league statistically. In today's review, we are going to take a look at the Northwest Division. But before we jump into the review, make sure you bless the page by clicking the subscribe button, pull up a seat, grab a drink, a snack, and join us on our other media outlets, TikTok, Instagram, and become a member at hoops.fyi, and be sure to get in the comments section to voice your thoughts. With that out of the way, let's do a quick review of the Northwest Division. In terms of their record, the Northwest Division has a total of 153 wins and 121 losses. This places them as the second best in the Western Conference and second best in the entire NBA. The win percentage is .558, also placing them second in the West and in the league overall. 3 teams from the Northwest Division are currently in the playoff hunt, including the number 1 seeded team and 3 of the top 4 teams. They also have the defending champs, the Denver Nuggets, within the division. Offensively, 1 team from the division ranks in the top 5 in offensive ratings in the conference, and 1 team ranks in the bottom 5 in offensive ratings in the conference. Defensively, the 2 highest defensive ratings in the conference come from this division. 3 of the top 5 highest defensive ratings in the conference also come from this division. But on the flip side, the 2 lowest defensive ratings in the conference also belong to teams in this division. All in all, the Northwest Division is probably one of the strongest divisions, if not the best division. Now let's get into the discussion of the teams from the Northwest Division. Coming in at number 5, we have the Portland Trail Blazers. The Trail Blazers have a record of 15-39 with a win percentage of .278, placing them 14th in the Western Conference. Now diving into their offense, their offensive rating is 108.5, placing them 5th in the division. They are bottom of the division and 29th in the league for points per game, averaging 107.95 per game. Their field goal percentage is also at the bottom of the division and 30th in the league with a percentage of 44. For three-point percentage, they are last in the division and 25th in the league at 35.3. In terms of assists, they are last in the division and 30th in the league with an average of 22.69 per game. They are 26th in the league for rebounding, averaging 41.44, and also 26th in the league for fewest turnovers per game with 13.98. Moving on to the defense, their defensive rating is 117.3, ranking them 4th in the division. They're allowing an average of 116.89 points per game, placing them 4th in the division. Their field goal percentage against is the worst in the division and 26th in the league at 49.6. However, they are the best in the division and 3rd in the league for three-point percentage against with 34.8. They are last in the division and 30th in the league for defensive rebounds, averaging 29.45. And in terms of blocks, they are last in the division and 23rd in the league with an average of 4.51 per game. Not the best by any means. And now moving on to the number 4 team, we have the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz came into the midseason break with a record of 26-30 with a win percentage of .464, placing them 11th in the Western Conference. Offensively, the Jazz have an offensive rating of 115.8, ranking them 3rd within the division. They score an average of around 117.84 points per game, which lands them at the 2nd spot within the division. In terms of rebounding, the Jazz are one of the best in the league. They average about 46.79 rebounds per game, making them the best in their division and 2nd best in the entire league. I mean, they're killing it on offensive rebounds, ranking in 1st in the division and 2nd in the league with an average of 12.91 offensive rebounds in a game. On the flip side, they are having supreme issues in the turnover department. They are committing the most turnovers in the division and the most turnovers in the whole league, averaging 15.19 turnovers per game. On the defensive end, the Jazz are not so good. Their defensive rating is 118.8, placing them at the 5th spot within the division. They allow an average of 120.61 points per game, which is the highest among their division and ranks 26th in the whole league. They are struggling in defending three-point shots, ranking last in the division and 29th in the league, allowing teams to shoot at a 39.1 clip or 39.1 success rate from beyond the arc. Additionally, they're just having troubles thieving the rock also, ranking last in the division and 28th in the league with an average of 6.65 steals per game. Better than Portland, but not too good. If they can maybe pick things up in the second half of this season, they can probably get into one of those play-in spots, hoping that another team starts to taper off later in the season. And into the number 3 team, we have the defending champs. We have the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets come into the midseason break with a record of 36-19, with a win percentage of .655, and that's placing them 4th in the Western Conference right now. On the offensive end, they have an offensive rating of 117.1, which ranks them 2nd in their division. They score an average of 114.23 points per game, placing them 3rd in the division. Additionally, they lead the division and are 5th in the league in assists with an average of 28.86 points per game. They lead the division and are 5th in the league in assists with an average of 28.86 per game, and they have the 4th fewest turnovers per game in the league, averaging only 11.82. Defensively, they have a defensive rating of 113.7, ranking them 3rd in the division, and they allow an average of 110.8 points per game, which places them 2nd in the division. Nothing special really stands out about them statistically, for better or for worse, but they are the defending champs and still very much are a force in the conference and the league. And expect to see them in the thick of things come playoff time. Who knows, they could probably creep up and get that number 1 spot, depending on what goes on with the other teams and how they end up playing. In the number 2 spot in the division, you have the OKC Thunder, formerly known as, or somewhat kind of used to be known as the Supersonics, which I don't think they own the rights to the Supersonics. I can't remember that. But anyway, we have the OKC Thunder. They head into the midseason break with a record of 37 wins and 17 losses with a win percentage of .685. That places them 2nd in the West, trailing, and they're only trailing maybe a game or two from number 1. And who knows, by the time this releases or you hear this, they might be tied for number 1. As far as offense, they have an offensive rating of 119.2, ranking 1st in their division and 4th in the league. They lead their division and rank 2nd in the league in points per game, averaging 120.96 per game. Their field goal percentage is also strong at 50.1%, ranking 1st in the division and 2nd in the league. When it comes to three-point shooting, they're at the top of the division and league with a percentage of 39.5%. Defensively, they have a defensive rating of 111.9, placing them 2nd in the division. They allow an average of 113 points per game, ranking 3rd in the division. They are holding teams to a field goal percentage of 45.3%, which ranks 3rd in the league. They are leading the league with an average of 6.75 blocks per game, with young Chet in the paint. And they are leading the division and rank 3rd in the league with an average of 8.15 steals per game. However, they are struggling with rebounds, ranking last in the division and 28th in the league in total rebounds per game with 41.11 and 29th in offensive rebounds per game with 8.58. On the brighter side, they are ranking 1st in the division and 3rd in the league with steals per game with an average of 8.15. And going back to the offensive end, they are 1st in the division and 2nd in the league in fewest turnovers per game at 11.6. And now I'm getting into the number 1 team in the division. The number 1 spot, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves coming in at a record of 39 wins and 16 losses with a win percentage of .709, placing them 1st in the conference and 2nd in the league. On the offensive side, they have a rating of 115.2. They also score an average of 113.96 points per game, both rankings placing them 4th in the division. The team is 3rd in the league when it comes to three-point shooting with a success rate of 39.3. However, they rank low in offensive rebounds with an average of 9.2, which is 28th in the league. Defensively, the Timberwolves lead the division with a ranking of 108.2. In terms of points allowed per game, they are leading with an average of 106.71 allowed, which is top in the division and top in the league. They also are tops in defensive field goal percentage in the division and the entire league, holding teams to 44.6 from the field. Lastly, they average 34.65 defensive rebounds per game, which ranks them first in the division and third in the league. You know, it's good to see the T-Wolves among one of the strongest teams in the conference and the league. And, you know, they haven't traditionally been a very good team, but they've had a few years. You know, when KG was there, they did a couple of things. Let's see how they finish the season and see what they do heading into the playoffs. All right, that's it. Thank you for listening to this episode of Worst to Least Worst by HoopsFYI. And that's it for the Northwest Division. One of the strongest divisions, if not the strongest division. Let's see what happens in this division. 3 of the top 4 teams in the West. I expect them to finish the season on that tip. Let's see if they get 3 of the top 4. Let's see if they get the top 3 instead of 3 of the top 4. We'll see. Or let's see if they even get a champion. But before we get up out of here, remember to hit the subscribe button, like, voice your opinion in the comments section, and follow us on TikTok and Instagram, and subscribe to the community at hoops.fyi. Until next time, peace.